And the commander then was very clear that it would be the 13th of April because it's Baisakhi. And Baisakhi is supposed to be a new year in North India, new year, and therefore very auspicious, and we would occupy the Siachen on the 13th of April. Now we didn't know till Musharraf wrote in his book later that they were to occupy on the 1st of May. So anybody who's wanting to occupy such a thing on the 1st of May would be preparing for it at least 2 months in advance. Minimum 2 months in advance. So they were already close to the glacier. And from their side, it takes exactly 1 day to come on top of Siachen Glacier, occupy Saltoro Ridge, and then occupy the Siachen Glacier. For us, it took us about 7 days to walk, and then we had to establish Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3, Camp 4, Camp 5, Camp 6, then Indira Col, then on to the Saltoro Ridge, occupy Bellafondla, occupy Ciela. So it was a huge logistic nightmare to occupy all of it. So since on the 12th of April 1984 came the equipment with which we could wear and occupy Siachen Glacier. So you can well imagine 13th April in the morning at 5 o'clock we are supposed to occupy Siachen Glacier, and in the evening of 5 o'clock of 12th of April 1984, equipment from foreign countries land by the Air Force.
I just want to emphasize this point once, because this is a very crucial point that the General is making, and it actually goes to the heart of how, forgive me for using harsh words, but how ill-prepared the system was for something like this. They got their high-altitude boots and high-altitude clothing and high-altitude mountaineering equipment and ropes and stuff 2 hours before they took off from the Siachen base camp or in Thois to go to Siachen. 2 hours, which means General Kulkarni and the rest were fully prepared to go without that equipment. Fully prepared. To a place 22,000 feet in the air, they were prepared to go. Please, sir. And tell us about that helicopter thing.
Shiv, yeah, I know. Shiv is absolutely right. But why did that happen? Because the Pakistanis had bought the entire equipment that is available in Europe by January of 1984. So when our corps commander, General Hoon, then went to procure the equipment, that is the time he was told that, well, look, there is no equipment available because everything has been bought by Pakistan. So he said, Pakistan bought it. So that was the first hint that we all got that Pakistanis were on to some mischief, and probably they would be wanting to occupy Siachen Glacier and later on all that. So what Shiv is saying is absolutely right, because after that, then India had to place an order, and then the equipment had to be made and sizes had to be done. So obviously it took time, but fortunately, the 12th of April, 1984, the foreign equipment, all the balaclavas and the jackets and the trousers and the shoes and the socks, everything, including the tents, everything came on the 12th, 13th morning. Now comes the 13th of April, and we were told that it is radio silence. Why the radio silence is very important to you. We have seen what's happened in Lebanon. So what's happened in Lebanon is exactly what can happen anywhere else. So we were, for that reason, specifically told, do not open your radio sets, keep mum, stay absolutely shut for 5 days. Because during that period, we would be able to settle down on Siachen, and then we'll open the radio sets. So on the 12th, we had done the recce, it was all okay. 13th April, we went. Just when now the question that Shiv asked, that Atika Bori. So in the morning, me and my radio operator, who had been with me, he had a big radio set, so that was on his lap. I was sitting next to him. In a helicopter, only 2 could go. The total capacity of the helicopter was 4. 2 passengers, 2 pilots. Pilot and a co-pilot. So total of 4. That's the capacity of the helicopter then. Now it's much, much less. So we were in the first helicopter. We had reached Bellafondla, and just when we were hovering over, the pilot told me, Kulkarni, I don't think we can land. You get ready to jump. I said, jump, no problem. But I said, if you jump at this point of time, there are so many crevices, we wouldn't know how hard the snow is. So I suggest I have an Artica Bori right under this thing, because each of the helicopters were to carry some load for the subsequent stay over there. So I said, let me push that and see how hard the surface is. If the surface is hard, I'll jump. If the surface is soft and it goes down, then we may have to look for another place to jump. So he said, no problems at all. So you throw the Artica Bori. So that Artica Bori was thrown, and I could see it was right, lying on top only. I told the pilot, no problem. Now the pilot and the passengers can talk to each other to the radio set. So we were all, otherwise it's a very noisy helicopter. You can't hear anybody at that point of time. So since we were talking, he said, is it okay? I said, yeah, perfectly fine. The Artica Boris is on top. That means I can now jump. The crevices over there are very wide. It could be as wide as this room sometime. And they'll be covered with a very light, thin layer of snow. So it doesn't know. So generally when the helicopters come like this to land, there's a whiteout condition. The snow is thrown up, the pilot cannot see anything. He gets disoriented totally. He just cannot see anything. So and he's slowly landing. And if he lands in the thin layer of ice, I've seen with my own eyes the entire helicopter going down with the passengers. Huge helicopters, dark, finished. It's all gone. If the exhaust gone. If the crevice is 100 feet, 200 feet, God alone knows, they all just go down, and that's the end. So that was the fear. We didn't want to start with that operation, something like this to happen. So I said, ye karo, ho jayega. So then he said, okay, are you ready to jump? I said, I'm ready to jump. So I jumped. And that was the first, when I jumped, I gave that thumbs up to the pilot. I said, I'm fine, now you land. So when he was to land, there were other choppers which were flying, wanting to see what is going on. And when they saw that this chopper had landed, it was okay. But before Shiv says anything, the radio operator who was with me, he fell sick within exactly 40 minutes. 40 minutes of landing. His name was Mandal and Havaldar. And he was just sitting quietly like this and sinking. I said, Mandal, kya ho gaya? He was not replying. I said, Arey, Mandal, kya ho gaya? So he was saying, ki, meko kuch samajh mein nahi aa raha hai. I said, okay, don't worry, stay up and about. The next helicopter that comes, I'll send you back. So the next helicopter that came, Mandal, who landed with me, was back. So that was the first casualty that started off on the Siachen Glacier. But slowly and steadily after that, all these, in every helicopter too, we were a total of 30. So now we were left 29. All 29, along with the company commander, Major Sandhu, we landed there. And by about 10:30, the landing was all complete. And the same helicopters were to carry the platoon for Siala, because that was yet another route for Pakistan to enter through Saltoro into Siachen. So there were two passes, Belafondla and Siala. Our responsibility was to occupy Belafondla, and Ladakh's responsibility was to occupy Siala. But by about 10:30, the weather suddenly turned bad. So bad, unbelievably bad, blizzardous. One couldn't see anything. I said, what happened? Suddenly, within about half an hour, everything turned turtle. And that was the start. And for the next 3 days, it was miserable. We lost one boy, and now it was only the third day. We had already lost one boy. And then I discussed with the company commander. I said, what do we do now? He said, kya karega? I said, we have to open the radio set. If we don't open the radio set, every tent, only 2 boys can sleep. I said, they're very small tents. I said, we are about 30 of us. Each one of them are staying in 2. I said, you and me are also sharing one. Now this boy is no more, and 2 more days to pass. I said, I can't have him inside because other boys can't sleep inside. They'll feel very uncomfortable. I said, I can't keep him outside because you never know, the whole body will get covered by morning because of the heavy snowfall, will not know where he is. So it is better we open the radio set and inform the commanders that one boy is no more. It was last night Ramesh thing. He was with me in 83, very good boy, but suddenly high altitude pulmonary or edema, they told me froth aaya or gaya. I said, chalo. Now, since it was the third day, Ramesh dead, this boy no more, and we were still to occupy Belafondla. Okay, because we were dropped short of Belafondla, and Belafondla was yet to be occupied. So we decided that, I told my team, I said, let's go and occupy Belafondla. Now when the radio sets were opened, we had informed that this boy is no more, And we were now walking onto Belafondla. As soon as we reached Belafondla, what do I see? The Pakistani choppers coming from front. So now the Pakistani choppers over me, and because the height, like you rightly said, 18,000 feet plus, and that's the limit that the helicopters can actually fly. So he's also trying very hard to fly at 18 and 19,000. We are all standing at 18,000, and the pilot and me saw eye to eye. Now it was just the closest. He's come from there. Because the radio sets got open, immediately the Pakistanis caught on that the Indians are somewhere close by. The location could be found out. They knew Indians are somewhere close by, but they sent the pilot to see, check karo, where are these chaps, Indians over here? And when he saw all of us over there, he took a U-turn, went back. But by then, we had ponked ourselves on Belafondla. By then, we had occupied Siala. And since 1984, till date, they're all on the other side, nowhere near that.